Cool. Hey, everybody. My name is Pawel Grabowski. As Matt already said, I'm a copywriter and content strategist, and I run a small content agency called User Magnet. And hey, I probably know a thing or two about content. I specialize in lead generation, just to give you a bit broader background. Which means I help companies to not just to increase the amount of content on their websites, not just to publish more content on their blogs, but actually achieve tangible results, generate leads, users, etc. So I'm just going to fire up straight to the presentation here. Right, I'm hoping you can see it, guys. Can anyone confirm in the comments?
I can see it, Powell. It's all looking good here. If anyone can't see it, please mention it in the comments. But I think we're looking good.
Right. Cool. So yeah. So let's kick off. Okay. So I'm going to be talking about 4 best content strategies to generate B2B leads. And before we begin, the word best. This is obviously my subjective choice based on my experience. So yeah, don't hold this against me, guys. Anyway, let's dive in. Guys, if you... Oh, hold on. Can you actually... Sorry, I'm just going to stop for a second. All right. Yeah. So, guys, if you try to generate leads with content, I'm sure you're going to agree with me that it's a bit irritating, frustrating, and it's darn disheartening. You know, like... You know the inbound methodology. HubSpot's been talking about it, teaching us how to, attract inbound leads for what 10 years now. You know that you need to first attract complete strangers to your site through a blog, dedicated content or other types of content. Then you need to use different strategies to convert them. Use forms, calls to actions, landing pages, etc. There's many of them. But the trick is, when you actually try it, you end up with an empty room. Nobody, or not many people click on your calls to action. Not many people click on, fill in the form, click the sign up button, etc. Very often you just, watch your analytics stats pretty much stuck at 0, right? So that kind of begs the question, can you really generate leads with content? And my answer is yes. However, there is a catch. To generate leads, you need to do a touch more than just focus on publishing great content. You need to use a dedicated content strategy that can actually deliver leads. And just to explain you this, there are sort of 2 camps among marketers. Some marketers believe that content can only deliver traffic and brand awareness. And look, this being digital Olympus, I couldn't resist to actually use Alex as an example. I hope I'm not going to get into any trouble for that. Okay. The other camp, and I kind of identify with this approach, says that the role of content is to generate tangible results. Leads, users, links, inquiries, customers, you name it. Okay. Now, both camps are right. And that's because you use completely different strategies to achieve those outcomes. You use one strategy to attract traffic or raise brand awareness, create buzz, virality, etc. Tell people about your new product, new brand, whatever. Use completely different strategy to generate tangible results. And the trick is that most companies pick the wrong strategy, and as a result, they fail to achieve their content marketing objectives. So what I'm going to show you today are the 4 strategies guaranteed to generate tangible results. Before we go there, there's just one other thing I want to do. I want to dispel with 2 myths, 2 lead generation with content myths. Myth number 1, content can deliver sales-ready leads, and that's big no. Look, strategies like SEO, PPC, online advertising, local search, etc., they generate warm leads. These people are ready to buy or almost ready to buy. Very often they land on your site. When they land on your site through these strategies, they do it after using very specific keywords, commercial keywords, sometimes even transactional keywords. They type in running shoes into Google. They type in hotel in New York, oldest pub in Dublin, whatever. But this is usually stuff they're looking for. They want to buy it, or they want to visit it, or they want to do something with it. So they are ready to buy, and some of them will pop. They will convert. That's guaranteed. Content, however, delivers cold leads. These people look only for information, or most of them look for information. They don't know whether they want to buy something. They don't know what that thing could have be, right? They look for information. They have an itch, and they're looking for causes of it. They're looking to learn. Okay, so content delivers leads at the early stage of the buying cycle. These people need to be nurtured before you can forward them to sales. And that there's a major difference in approach. We see it all the time at User Magnet when we talk to companies and they said, yeah, we tried content and it delivered crap leads. We contacted these people, we phoned them or we emailed them, and they were surprised to hear from us. And some of them were really offended that we got in touch. And that's because they weren't ready to hear the pitch. Okay, so you need to get them ready, and so that's important thing to remember. The second thing, only gated content delivers leads, and that's nope again. Certain types of content can actually generate leads without forcing anyone to sign up for your list. Okay, and I'm going to show you some of those in just a second. So just to get started, so these are my personal 4 best content strategies to generate kick-ass B2B leads. We're going to talk about lead magnets, we're going to talk about webinars, slideshow presentations, and podcasts. Okay. So lead magnet. Look, everyone probably heard about lead magnets, the most popular lead generation strategy, and there's a very simple test you can do to see how popular it is. Just rummage through your hard drive, and I'm sure you'll find ebooks, checklists, God knows what else you've downloaded in return for your email address. Then check your inbox. Sure, like every week you get or every other week you get an email from somebody, and either advertising something or with information, advice, and you go like, who's that guy? I don't even remember them. That's because you probably signed up for their lead magnet 6 months ago, and they just actually reactivated the list and started emailing you. Okay, but that also shows you the power of lead magnets. Everybody downloads them, even people like me who create lead magnets. Even I fall for that, because that's the nature of lead magnets. They work. However, lead magnets are a wide term, so we kind of have to define it first. So let's define it first. So I'm going to show you how different marketing and conversion specialists approach the idea of a lead magnet. So Massimo, the CEO of Adespresso, says a lead magnet is anything that your potential customers will find valuable. Ryan from Digital Marketer says a lead magnet is an irresistible bribe, offering a specific chunk of value to a prospect in exchange for their contact information. Pete from Conversion Excel says a lead magnet is the free offer you make to get visitors' email addresses, and I call it a resource you offer in exchange for a person's email and a chance to develop a relationship with them. And there's truth in all those and many other definitions. And the key thing to kind of when you consolidate them, the key thing to remember is that a lead magnet is a resource that offers an opportunity to get someone started on a journey to become a client. It's again very important thing. Remember when we said that content doesn't really deliver sales-ready leads, and that's an example. Your lead magnet is only a starting point for a journey you need to take the person through until they become a client. Okay, and again, a common mistake is ending ebooks with sales pitch. So, okay, if you like this information, you want to hire us, email us on this, use this email or this phone number, etc. And then, nobody emails, or not many people email, not many people call. That's because they weren't ready to do it. They're still at the kind of early stages of their journey, or actually at the starting point. Okay, so lead magnets can be anything: ebooks, guides, white papers, tools, templates, checklists, anything, as we said, that your audience will find valuable and are willing to offer their email address for. And they can work on any topic, niche, industry. You can, publish an ebook on, solving a particular issue with setting up AdWords accounts, and have a checklist for setting up an, AdWords account, have a guide to, offer a guide to someone who wants to start running, and etc., etc., etc. It could be anything. However, for them to work, they need to pass certain criteria. So first of all, they have to relate to a very specific knowledge that your ideal lead lacks. Okay. So in other words, it has to relate to, it has to target that one point they know, they kind of know they don't know anything about. I'm sorry, that sentence didn't make much sense. I hope you get what I mean. So in other words, it has to be something they're willing to sacrifice their email for, that specific knowledge. And again, one of the best ways to find out what that is go through your warm leads inquiries from warm leads. So what people who are interested in buying from you are asking you about? Are there any specific questions they have? Are there actually specific aspects of your, your product, your service, etc.? Because chances are that if your warm lead has lacks specific knowledge, your cold lead will lack it too. Okay, so it's a very good way to find the topic. Okay, it has to promise a solution to a very specific problem. Again, first we said that we talked about specific knowledge that your ideal potential customer lacks, but that could be a very, very broad topic, right? They may lack knowledge about online marketing, for instance, or content marketing. That's too broad. So we need to also offer them or promise them a solution to a very specific problem within that kind of area of knowledge. Okay. And the third one, and this is super important, it has to be easy to consume within minutes. So what I mean by that is, like, offering a 100-page ebook might seem like a very authoritative thing. Like, hey, look, there's this encyclopedia on the topic, and I wrote that, and here, I can give it to you. But the problem is, it'll probably be intimidating for your prospect. They want the solution you're promising now, straight away, not, after weeks of going through that, as I said, that encyclopedia, right? They want to get the gist of that solution fast, right away. So, and again, by promising a solution to a very specific problem, you also typically promise that solution now. So you have to be very conscious of that. That your lead magnet can't be anything massive or big. And when I was preparing this presentation, I actually remembered how we used to create ebooks and lead magnets. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Back then, it was actually cool to say, oh, yeah, look, this ebook, this is 47-page ebook, or these are 99 tips to do something. Because at that time, lead magnets were maybe not new, but still kind of newish. And we needed that proof of value, right? We needed to some sort of a proof to say, look, this is valuable stuff. It's worth signing up. But the world has sped up. Like this, people don't have as much time to go through 47, 57, whatever, 60-page ebook now. And they want something quick. They want a quick solution right now. That's it. Okay. So these are the kind of characteristics of the effective lead magnet. And how do you generate leads with magnets? Now these the lead magnets are actually the simplest in technical forms. You use lead capture forms. You can use a small banner underneath your blog at the end of a blog post that takes a person to a landing page where they can fill in their whatever information you're asking them about, and in return you're going to email them a form, etc. Or as in the other example here on the slide, you can have the form right on the call to action, so they don't actually have to leave your content and sign up. You can use a pop-up. There's hundreds probably of ways, or tens of ways at least. But the point is, you need to use a lead capture form where a person fills in their details. Okay, so these are the lead magnets. Now, off to webinars. I'm sure you know what webinars are. I would actually say we're probably participating in a massive webinar now. Although there's probably a better term for it, but that's how I would describe, digital Olympus. And I'm sure you're getting these, invitation emails for webinars every week. You see banners, social media posts, advertising a webinar. And so, like, almost everyone seems to be using them now, and in a way they're right. Like, for 77% of marketers, at least according to a report by a company called ClickMeeting, they actually, webinars generate leads. Okay, and that's what these marketers use them for. Okay, and according to another company called ReadyTalk, between 20 and 40% of their clients' webinar attendees turned into qualified leads. And the word qualified is really important here. These are warm leads. These people are ready to buy. These people have said, yes, I do have a problem your product or service is solving, and yes, I'm willing to talk to you about it. I'm willing to talk to you about potentially hiring you. So 20 to 40% of webinar attendees turning into those qualified leads. Okay, so why would you run a webinar? First of all, because it gives you a chance to attract and build relation with people with a strong intent and brand recognition. What it means is that, unlike with lead magnets, most people who sign up for webinars generally know something about the company that's organizing the webinar. Lead magnets are very easy to snatch. You just type in your email address, type in a fake email address, whatever it happens to, and there you go. The ebook is yours, or the checklist is yours. With a webinar, it's slightly different. There is a conscious decision to sign up and then attend the webinar. Okay, so we're more likely to sign up for webinars run by companies we already know about. We have some positive attitude towards. Okay. Oh, gaining a global reach for your brand. Hey, I'm, the simplest way to explain this. I'm here in Ireland, 30 miles north of Dublin, in a small, tiny, actually, town, and I'm sure there are people from any corner of the world I can think of listening, or I hope at least, But so, you gain global reach straight away. You raise the perceived authority and status of yourself and your brand. Again, you're teaching people. That's as simple as that. That's the idea of a webinar. And by doing so, you become perceived as an authority. You develop strong partnerships. That's especially true if you invite guests to your webinars, to co-host a webinar with you. Then you develop partnerships with these people, and they're very often influencers, people you want to build those relationships with, or partnerships. And you build a content library. A webinar, once done, can be repurposed into many different content types. First of all, you can have like audio recording or video recording if there was, video. So you can have that on your site. You can use a transcript as a blog post. You can turn a transcript into ebook, etc. So you can build a massive content library from a webinar. Okay. And how do you generate leads with webinars? There's actually 3 stages for that. So that makes webinars so powerful. Because before, of course, in order to attend the webinar, people have to sign up for it, and they're immediately end on your list, and you can start communicating with them. During the webinar, you can make offers or point to additional and often gated, which means hidden behind a lead capture form, resources. Okay, and after the webinar, you can send follow-up emails, point them to webinar recording or additional content you created from a webinar, additional offers, and resources with the aim to move them to a more qualified list. So again, you can gate some of that content, and a person who signs up for it again automatically indicates they want to progress further into your sales funnel, or deeper into your sales funnel. Okay. Now, slide shares. Hey, everybody loves slide shares, right? It's a great content type. You come across a problem, you Google it, find a SlideShare presentation, flick a couple of slides. They're nice looking visual, easy to digest. You very quickly find a solution, you move on happy. Now, that's the power of SlideShare. It's a great content type. but also publishing SlideShare gives you access to LinkedIn's audience. Of course, SlideShare is part of LinkedIn. Gives you great search visibility. Hey, SlideShare's domain has probably much better domain authority than yours, and no offense. Look, so which means these presentations can rank for more competitive keywords, at least much quicker than if you created content on your site targeting the same keywords. Okay, authority, just like with webinars, you're teaching people something, you build authority. And leads. SlideShare is actually a great content format for generating leads, and one of the reasons for that is that it offers 3 ways to generate leads. First, SlideShare gives you a lead capture form that you can attach to your presentation. You can customize the form entirely, so header, the description text, fields. You can specify where you want to put it, where you want to display it, how you want to display it, when you want to display it. Will you allow a person to view the entire content, or you're going to gate half of it and require a sign up to view the rest? It's entirely up to you. Setting up a form is free. However, SlideShare charges you per lead, so there's a catch. I don't remember what the price is now, but I don't hold this against you, but I think it is £8 a lead, so it's $8 per lead, something like that. Okay, so you do have to pay for it. But anyway, there is an option to use a lead capture form, so that's the first way. Second one, you can use a call to action, a place call to action in your presentation. You can have a link in your presentation, be it at the end or somewhere inside the presentation. Again, it's entirely up to you. And through this link, you can move someone further in or deeper into your sales funnel. And the last option, you can also put that link or that call to action in the description. Description is that bit of text located underneath the actual slide, your presentation, but before the transcript. So you can also use that area where you normally describe what the presentation is about to convert visitors into, or people who view your SlideShare presentation into leads. Okay. And the last thing, podcasts. Now, usually when I mention podcasts as a lead generation strategy, I get this, like, no, seriously, it's impossible. It's the type of responses I get. But hear me out. Podcasting is actually a hugely successful lead generation channel for attracting new customers, and let me prove it to you. First of all, listening to podcasts grew by 23% since last year, and that's according to Convince and Convert. The same number of Americans listen to podcasts and use Twitter, and hey, we focus on Twitter as a lead generation strategy, so there is the other channel with exactly the same audience of the exactly same size. Podcast listeners stay tuned 5 times longer than when they're reading a blog post, and this is hugely important. Look, in order to convert someone into a lead, they have to read or consume our content. If they just land on a page, scan first lines of text, or flick first 2-3 slides of PowerPoint or a SlideShare presentation and go, well, look, no go. There's no chance to convert them. But if they stay, if they listen, watch, read, whatever, consume the content, your chances grow the longer you stay on the page, the more chances you have. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. So with podcasts, you have 5 times longer to convert them, and 67% of podcast listeners actually don't mind you selling to them. They don't mind sponsorship messages, and occasionally find them useful. Now, I know this statistic relate more to sponsorship messages, not self-promotional ones, but I would actually assume that the number of podcast listeners who don't mind you promoting yourself a little is actually even higher. Okay, so how do you generate leads with podcasts? Again, you have multiple ways to do so. First of all, you can point listeners to lead magnets in the show notes. It's a common practice that when you put up a podcast, you also put up a page for the podcast with the show notes and links to some resources you mentioned in the show, etc. And there, like, just have it on an example here. You can point them to gated content. You can mention those additional resources during the show. So when you're talking about specific on a specific topic, and you've created a lead magnet, relating to that topic. You can mention the URL. You can create a very simple, easy to remember URL and mention it during the show, so people could actually go in and check it out. And lastly, pointing to your site, services, or products. Like, hey, podcasts, by their nature, they relate to the topic, the service, the product, the problem your product or service are trying to solve. So it's natural that you're gonna mention your service here and there, or your product, or speak about your experience, etc. And that actually is gonna generate leads, very often warm leads. I know people who, like, companies running podcasts, who get one of their best leads from among their podcast audience. So again, great way to generate leads. So just to recap, content can help both raise brand awareness and generate leads, but you need to use different strategies to achieve those results. Content delivers leads at the early stage of the buying cycle, which means these people are not ready to be forwarded to your sales, or to be called, emailed with a sales pitch. No, you need to actually walk them through, be with them stay with them on a journey until they're ready to buy. You don't have to gate the content behind the lead generation form to convert someone. SlideShare presentations and podcasts can actually generate leads without any forms, or without any other form of gating the content. And my personal 4 best content strategies to generate kick-ass leads include lead magnets, webinars, SlideShare presentations, and podcasts. All right, so guys, that's me. Thanks very much.
Pawel, thank you so much. That was amazing, man. Thank you.
Awesome.
What a great piece of insight there. And guys, if you've got any questions for Pawel, I know we've got 1 or 2 already, please add them into the chat box. We've got a few minutes for Pawel now, and we'd be crazy to not use it. So we've got one here, Pawel, from Jennifer, and it's an interesting one. Is providing free Wi-Fi considered a lead magnet? You have to give the business your email address after all.
Yes, it is, and I'm still on the fence about it. Now, full disclaimer, I've used it, I've done it, I've set it up for companies, primarily in B2C though. So in my case, it was a chain of hotels, and it kind of made sense. I know airports wouldn't have the same practice, and some coffee shops as well. So yes, it could be used for lead generation. Some companies require your email, some companies only require you to sign up through social channels or follow them on social media. Yes, I don't want to say if this is a good lead generation strategy or not. Personally, I'm a bit irritated very often when I have to give those details, but that's just me. So, but yes, that's a form of a lead generation strategy.
Yes, I'd probably agree with you. I'm a bit on my fence. Well, guys, keep the questions coming. We've got a few more minutes. Pawel, you mentioned that different strategies generate leads and brand awareness. Could you quickly list those used for brand awareness so our listeners can
sure.
know the difference?
Strategies like videos, infographics, memes, interviews, roundups, guest posts, list posts, basically content that targets wider audience. It's memorable. It's also a bit more entertaining than educational, hence memes, videos, etc. Intriguing. This content is best used to generate brand awareness. So you put it out there, it becomes viral, and then your logo or your whichever way you brand this content goes out, and kind of presents get stuff. Geez, sorry about that. I lost the trail of thought, guys. What I'm trying to say is, whichever way you brand this content, basically, it goes out there and spreads that the word on your brand. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that, and that's very interesting. Now, you mentioned SlideShare presentations. It is quite difficult to get tangible results. Have you personally found tangible results from using SlideShare? And if so, can you give
Yes,
examples
and
and stories?
yes, and full again, kind of full disclaimer. I've never used the lead generation form because I never had to. Yes, I generated leads that were pretty much sales ready through a call to action in the presentation, and I also generated cold leads through the same strategy. Again, placing call to action within the presentation that kind of moved people to the next step, say in the lead generation process. So what I mean by that, for instance, I would convert or repurpose a blog post into a SlideShare presentation, but I would leave a bit out, okay? And so then at the end of a presentation, you get a link to go and see the final bit. You could think of it as a content upgrade, the SlideShare version of a content upgrade, without the lead form. So anyway, you watch a presentation, it covers everything, but there is a promise of an extra bit added to it, and you transfer the person onto your site where they can get that extra bit and maybe sign up for another lead magnet or convert in any other way. So yes, SlideShare works really well. You sometimes need to use a mix of a couple of approaches, but generally yes.
Very interesting. Well, guys, if you've got any more questions, please let us know. We've got Ben Twitchell, always the head of marketing of Mention, a fantastic company, coming up next. But while we still have Pawel on the line and we're waiting for Ben, if we've got a few more questions, let's ask them. Jessica says, thank you, Pawel, for your excellent presentation.
Thanks very much.
If you've got any questions, please add them into the chat box now. Pawel, I'm personally interested, just to kind of carry on that last question of SlideShare. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you would be able to use a similar kind of approach when you do maybe sort of online talks like you're doing now, or if you're doing an actual talk on a stage and you're using things like a presentation?
Well, I'm actually going to use this presentation in exactly that way on SlideShare, probably from tomorrow or later today. So yes. However, in terms of live, that's always a bit trickier. So not sure, because I haven't tried. So I don't want to say yes or no if I didn't try it.
Okay, interesting. We've got a question just coming from Mike Bryant. Is a webinar recording that is public and free via YouTube more valuable than a gated recording hosted on a site page? Very interesting. What are your thoughts there?
It is interesting, and it depends on the topic of a webinar and your goals. You see, in a case of putting it on YouTube, that would probably help more with brand awareness. Having said that, again, you could probably put a call to action in a description, and again mention the same resources within in the actual webinar. So that could generate leads, and of course, given the actual reach of YouTube, that could attract an enormous audience. So it really depends. I would say if you already have a big audience, I would put it on your site. If you're looking to build audience and leads at the same time, straight away to YouTube.
Excellent. Well, I hope that has answered your question, Mike. A great question indeed. And Pawel, we now have Ben coming up next. It's been such a pleasure connecting with you.
Thanks very much, guys.
I learned a great deal. I hope you have a great afternoon.
Cheers. Thanks, guys. Bye.